What's going on, Halo fans? Luke the Notable here. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to do a Scarab rush in Halo Wars 2. This rush will allow you to get a Scarab out on the battlefield at about the 6-minute mark, which is insanely fast. We've only been able to do this in 3v3, not 2v2 or 1v1. I don't think it'll work in those playlists. The basic strategy for the rush is going into a 3v3 playlist and having your other two teammates feed you resources in a certain way so that you can get the Scarab insanely quickly. I want to thank SniperLock25 and Matthew Tyler L for helping me with this strategy. Honestly, I was super surprised that it even worked. We got this strategy to work 3 times, and each time we did this strategy, our times decreased for when we got the Scarab on the battlefield, our fastest time being 6 minutes, and that is this gameplay. I'm sure there are ways to get this strategy to run much faster if everyone was going on 100% efficiency. Okay, let's talk about build order, because that is very important to any rush strategy. Build order for this rush is insanely simple. All you're doing is power node rushing. Your build order should always look like this. Your first building needs to be a supply pad or the Covenant equivalent, and then upgrade it. The same with your second building, supply pad or Covenant equivalent, and then upgrade it. Your third building will be a generator or the Covenant equivalent. I was using Covenant for this rush because I was the one getting the Scarab. You don't need to upgrade your generator. The fourth building you're going to buy is another supply pad, and then the fifth building you're going to buy is a generator. This second generator is going to cost 500 supplies, which is why you want to have those 3 supply pads already built. That's the very simple explanation of how this rush strategy works, but I'm going to show you the more in-depth version now. Now this is just going to be for the person building the actual Scarab. This was my role in the background gameplay you see in the background. You're going to start by building a supply pad, and then you're going to want to upgrade that supply pad. You're also going to want to build 1 infantry unit, depending on if you're UNSC or Covenant. If you're Covenant, you may be able to build 2 infantry units because grunts cost less. Once you have a squad of about 4 or 5 grunts or marines, then you're going to want to go capture the power nodes as soon as possible. All the while, you're going to want to make sure that your second supply pad is being built, and you're going to want to upgrade that one as well as soon as it comes up. Your third building and the fourth step in this rush is going to be building your first generator, which will cost 200 supplies. All the while, you're still trying to capture power nodes on the map with your squad and your teammates' help. Once that third building, your generator, comes up, you're going to want to build a supply pad. Again, you're not upgrading that one. And once you have 3 supply pads, your goal is to, in the background, get your infantry army up to at least 10 units. This 10 unit mark is only for the person building the Scarab. It's different if you're not building the Scarab. All the while, you should try to get that 5th building on your base to be a generator to get some extra power increase. Now, if you aren't building the Scarab, the biggest change you're going to see to this build order is that step 6, instead of only getting your infantry army up to 10 units, you're going to try to build your infantry army as big as possible. Do everything the same, just try to get the biggest infantry army you can. There are 2 points to doing an entire infantry army early game to get the power nodes. One, it's a very cheap and efficient way to get a massive high population army early game, which allows you to capture the power nodes and control them pretty easily early game. Second, a lot of times it scares the other team. If the other team sees a ton of grunts, what they're going to do is turtle up, because grunt armies aren't great for taking out bases, and they may think, okay, all we need to do is build some turrets, build some Hellbringers, build some elite rangers, whatever we need to do to kill an entire army of grunts. They'll turtle up, a lot of times leaving you to keep the power nodes and wait for your grunt armies to attack, giving you more time to get your Scarab out. Controlling all 5 power nodes on any given map will give an individual 600 power per minute. Your other 2 teammates will also get 600 power per minute, bringing your total power production for all 3 players to 1800 power per minute. Now, whenever you donate power or supplies, there is a donation tax of 33%, but even after this, your power per minute for the person building the Scarab is 1400 a minute, and that's still very fast. I'm going to save you a ton of boring math, and I can go over these numbers in a separate video if you guys want. Please thumbs up the video if you really want me to go over how I got to these numbers, but this will be your total supply per minute and power per minute if you're playing the person that is going to be building the Scarab, assuming your teammates are donating you power and supplies. This is also assuming that your teammates are doing everything that they need to do as far as their build order and armies, and they're giving you all the supplies that they need to be giving you. Okay, let's focus in on a little bit of gameplay. At this time in the game, we're almost nearing the 2-minute mark. We have a couple power nodes, but not all of them, so we're not at max production, and at this point, I'm just building my final power extractor. At this point, I'm screaming to my teammates, guys, send me power, I need to get this first Citadel upgrade. Both of my teammates send me some power and some supplies, and you can see I'm able to upgrade to a Citadel right now after Matthew Tyler L sends me a chunk of power. You definitely need to get as much power power from your teammates as possible early on. Your teammates should not be upgrading anything other than the first 2 supply pads. They shouldn't go for any choppers, they shouldn't try to upgrade their generators or any other stuff like that. Now we fast forwarded the gameplay just a little bit to let my Citadel upgrade complete. I did keep my infantry army a little bit lower in this game to make sure that I had just enough supplies to build a 3rd generator once my Citadel totally came complete. And then you want to make sure the last building you build a War Council. The War Council is the building where the Scarab can be produced. You also may have noticed that I do check my teammates' supply and power storages. You can do this by pressing the start button and see everything that they have in their inventory. And I try to check this every now and then and say, hey man, you know, you could send me some power right now, send it over. It's not that I don't trust my teammates, it's just sometimes Halo Wars 2 can get a little chaotic, and when that happens, it helps to have someone watching your back. So at this point, I'm going to get my 3rd tech level, and you can notice that my supplies are pretty low, but let me tell you something. Supplies are very easy to come by in this game, especially when you have 2 people on your team that are sending you them. So once your 3rd tech upgrade is starting to be, sent through, it'll take about a minute for that to be completed. Tell your teammates, send me everything you can. Everything. You need to make sure to get that Scarab out as soon as 3rd tech comes up. You may not always get it as soon as 3rd tech comes up, but if you can, that is amazing. For a second, it looks like I'm not going to get the 2,000 supplies and the 2,000 power that I'm going to need to have to build my Scarab when my 3rd tech comes up, but my teammates hook me up with those supplies, and I get it right on time. Again, the Scarab will cost 2,000 supplies and 2,000 power and will take exactly 2 minutes to build. I built mine, started building it at 4 minutes, which means at 6 minutes, I will have a Scarab on the field. That is super early. You'll also notice here that I do destroy one of my power extractors. You don't need it anymore. I go and build an Apex. What you're going to be trying to do is in the 2 minutes that your Scarab is coming out, you're going to want to build as many engineers as possible. You can also see that I upgraded my remaining harvesters so that I could get more and more supplies to build engineers. Engineers only cost 240 supplies per engineer. There is no power needed for engineers. You won't be able to get too many engineers on the field, maybe 2 or 3, 4 if you're super lucky and you do it incredibly quickly, but you don't necessarily need too many engineers. A Scarab at 6 minutes is incredibly powerful. Even if all the guys built hunters, there's no way they could get enough on their own general supplies that they could ever come close to killing your Scarab. So this was in a ranked 3v3 match, so we ended up playing some guys that were pretty good. They ended up coming to my home base at around the 7-minute mark, and the 7-minute mark is when your Scarab, after being produced, will get to the enemy's base. So the enemy actually does end up killing my main base here, but I have a Scarab at their main base, so we end up winning the match in the long run. The point I'm trying to make here is don't waste the early game Scarab. Scarabs are good, but only to a certain extent. If you build your Scarab at 6 minutes but don't use it to attack until the 10-minute mark, it's definitely not as effective. A Scarab at the 7-minute mark can basically just destroy a person's home base by shooting at the middle of it, and very quickly you can see that this base is going down. I'm going to lose my home base to a huge army of all 3 of the enemy team put together, but I'm going to take out all 3 of their bases with one of my Scarabs. I think one of the reasons why this rush is so great is the enemy completely thinks that you're all building grunts up until the point that they see the Scarab. Scarabs are actually not too hard to kill if you know that they're coming. You can build a ton of hunters, you can build a ton of cyclopses, you can build even a giant banshee army. That's pretty good at taking out a Scarab. But if you don't know it's coming and it just shows up at your base one day, you're totally screwed. And that's pretty much the strategy. It's a very simple build order that, if followed by all 3 of the people on your team, will be incredibly effective in beating 3v3 opponents. Now, we haven't found the most efficient way to do this strategy. This grunt rush method is just what's worked for us, so there could be more efficient ways out there to get a Scarab out at maybe the 5-minute mark. That's all up to you guys to go and try. I'm honestly really afraid that 343 is going to see this video and try to patch power nodes in some way, or patch them in 3v3 multiplayer to make them not as overpowered as they are here. But here's the thing, 343, hear me out. Here's the thing about this strategy. It's not an overpowered strategy. It's not an OP strategy. We rush grunts, which are not good units, early game so that we can control all of the power nodes, so that we can pool our resources into one unit. This strategy isn't unbeatable. I could see other early rushes being able to take us out because grunts and marine squads aren't necessarily the best stuff out there for defending against rushes, and because we are pooling all of our supplies, we don't generally turtle up by building turrets. What we found is most players, instead of taking the initiative and trying to take the power nodes back, will turtle up and wait for our giant marine or grunt armies to attack them. This is of course not the way you want to play against this strategy if you suspect it. If you're playing 3v3 and you think someone might be trying to use this strategy against you, get those power nodes back and try to cripple them. Attack them at their home base. Try to figure out who's building the Scarab and take them out before they can build one. This strategy is incredibly fragile until that Scarab comes out, but if you allow the enemies to get a Scarab at 6 minutes, you're screwed. There's nothing you can do. You've already lost the game. If you liked this video and want to learn more about Halo, one of the easiest ways is with Audible. Audible is a service from Amazon that offers a massive amount of audiobooks to its subscribers, and Audible is currently offering a 30-day audiobook service. You'll get access to 2 free audiobooks, and yes, all of the Halo novels are on audiobook and available right now. I personally like listening to these audiobooks while online playing some Halo, and of course you can cancel anytime. If you're interested in learning all about the Fall of Reach or a resident expert on what the ladies like, go down to the link in the description and to sign up for your absolutely free 30-day trial of Audible. And if this offer didn't already sound like the most notable thing you've ever heard, the 2 books you get with the trial are yours to keep forever, even if you cancel. So click on that link down in the video description to get your 2 free audiobooks with Audible completely risk-free. And that's pretty much it for the video, guys. I hope you find some success with this video in 3v3 game modes, and I hope that I don't crowd all of the strategies in 3v3 with this strategy. Sometimes that happens whenever I make a Halo Wars video. But I do plan on doing more Halo Wars content in the next coming weeks, so please subscribe if you want to see more of that. A lot of stuff like this, a lot of rush strategies with good build orders, and a lot of math too. Thank you all for watching. Please stay notable, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye. I just want to let you guys know that on this end screen pretty soon, I haven't done it yet at the time that I'm making this video, but I will be making a video on the most efficient way to get supplies and power in Halo Wars 2, going in all the math. And if that video is up, it'll be on the right. If you don't see that video, click the left, that's my logo, to subscribe, so make sure you don't miss it, because that video is going to be very helpful. Thank you.